everybody. This is So Many Sequels. I'm Josh.
Garrett.
I'm David.
And we have a special guest again. Nikki's here.
I forgot I get to introduce myself. I was like, oh, wait, Nikki.
That's me. Or you? I don't know. We're back with the second Fantastic Beasts movie. We talked about Fantastic Beasts and where to find them last week. And today we're talking about The Crimes of Grindelwald, the sequel. Our conversation last week turned into like a conversation about the whole franchise. And now I think it's fine to continue that, since this is the movie where it blows things up into a larger story than the first one did. Let's just do the same order we did this time and start with David as the resident
Give a quick synopsis of the movie if you or somebody can, just because it's been a while.
I'll let David do that too while he's talking.
Okay. So here we are 6 months later from the events of the first film. The movie opens with Grindelwald. Am I saying that right? In prison. He has had to have his guards changed out because he's so dadgum persuasive, that pasty dude. And he escapes his prison. I'll tell you what, 2016, good year for prison escapes. They always, you can't blame the staff of the Wizarding World. They hadn't seen Halloween yet. They don't know that the quickest way to lose a prisoner is through transport. And so Grindelwald gets away, and then he begins his crimes, mostly of which is stoking a wizard versus human war. Not even really all wizards, but pure blood wizards. There's a lot of Aryan Nazi themes here with the pure blood wizards. They shouldn't have to follow the rules. It's theirs for the taking. Humans, he's very quick though. It's very modern politician too. He's like, the humans, I don't want to get rid of them. They have their place. Anyway, so he's on his quest to do that. We learned that Credence, as played by Ezra Miller from the previous movie, he's still alive. We didn't talk about that enough last week, his whole obscurial thing, but he's still alive, and he has this mysterious past that they're trying to figure out. Meanwhile, Newt is sort of roped into the adventure by both the Ministry of Magic, who want him to go find this obscurial, and then after he denies doing that, roped in by good old Albus Dumbledore. That's right, the old wizard from the previous movies who ate earwax and stuff like that. He's here, played by as some might say, yummy Jude Law. And he is filling out that suit in all kinds of good ways. So people are really excited about that aspect of the movie, I understand.
Quick question. Did you just say that Dumbledore ate earwax?
Yeah, he ate. Remember in the very first
one? It
one?
was a jelly bean.
Jelly beans that tasted like earwax.
That's the thing. He goes, last time I ate this, it was vomit. And he eats it. He goes, earwax. Great. Like he ate bad luck with the jelly beans. So, anywho, that's what stands out in my mind. Anyhow.
Okay.
And then the movie goes on. Newt tries to find Credence. Everybody's trying to find Credence. He's this mythical thing that they're trying to figure out. And Jacob is back. Queenie, who we didn't talk about last week, really. Queenie is the sister of Tina, and they get involved. And like we talked about this last week. If you accept it, at the end of the movie, he was obliviated, so to speak. But the obliviation only takes away bad memories, and he had no bad memories of his adventures with wizards, so he remembers. And isn't that sweet? And so the team's back, the beasts are back, but it's really about this growing struggle between Grindelwald and the wizarding world and this impending war and the secret of Credence and who he is actually the brother or sister or son or daughter of, whoever he might be. And that is your synopsis.
Excellent.
For me, this movie, watching the two back to back the way I did yesterday or the other day, was, I think, made this one better. If I had watched this in 2018, having not watched the other one in 2 years, I probably would have been sitting there going like, what is going on? And really confused and really disappointed. Watching them back to back, it was like I remembered threads as they went along, and it was really easy to follow. So I feel like I had the benefit of getting to see them in that way. It feels like the middle. And I know we say that about a lot of movies. We say that about a lot of second movies and franchises. The climax of this one it's a rally, which isn't necessarily the most rousing climax, but it has stakes. There's like, it's emotional. There's a lot of things. I thought that Zoe Kravitz as Lita Lestrange was a very interesting character, and I felt like they did a very interesting job of unveiling her story through the film. I thought it was pretty cleverly foreshadowed, and then the reveals come in. But it does feel like the movie tries a little too hard to make a mystery. Like, it's really trying to like make you think this way and then pull the rug up from under you. And then, no, wait, did you have your feet set? Because we're going to pull the rug again. Like, it feels like it really wants you to be obsessed with the mystery of it. And again, it was another time of I'm mostly just wrapped up in now Newt and Jacob and Dumbledore, because I thought that Dumbledore, as played by Jude Law, was actually a refreshing add into the movie. And I thought that Jacob and Newt were, again, like they pick up right where they leave off in terms of how they seem like good guys. Still, Ezra Miller still puts me off every time he's on the screen. So I like this one a little less, but I don't think I hated it as much as I know some people have come down on it, because watching them back to back like that really, I think, helps me appreciate the threads a little bit.
I think I look at this one as the Age of Ultron in the Avengers franchise. Like, it's laying a lot of groundwork, and I can see that it's laying a lot of groundwork. But again, I think we talked about it last week, where this whole franchise, I think, suffers from only one person knows the story, and these movies alone don't stand on their own. They're all going towards a bigger thing. And so I don't know what that is. And like, the first one, okay, you're introducing to me the characters. You're fine. You're laying the characters, and I'm supposed to be connecting with them and enjoying what they're doing. And the second one is building towards that conflict of something. But like with Harry Potter, you can get away because I know, but I don't know what's coming here. And this payoff better be good. Because that's, I think, where these movies struggle is with Avengers. They can get away because they're giving me things in between. They're giving me things enough to fill in the story and build towards something that I can see what is happening. With Harry Potter, I know what was being built towards because there's already a thing that's been built. This is something that is brand new and fresh, and I think it struggles because it's going to be so expansive. It really does seem like it should be a miniseries rather than a movie series, because these movies, I don't feel like can stand alone, especially this one, because it's building off of something that's brand new and into something that's unknown. And I think it lays really good groundwork to where after I see it, I'm really intrigued. But man, it doesn't happen until that last third of the movie where I'm like, okay, I really understand what you're doing. I just wish it didn't take you a movie and a half to get there.
Okay. Yeah. Nikki, what'd you think?
I wanted to like it. I wanted to like it so much. I am one of the people that David was referring to who thinks that Jude Law is very dreamy, and he knows that. And actually, you two know that too. We've talked about my crush on Jude Law.
Jude Law is dreamy. Okay.
Yeah, 10 out of 10.
I mean, I'm saying,
watch Dumbledore again.
and I do think that he does a fantastic job. I was very excited when they announced that he was cast, because I thought it was another one of those times. There have been some times in the Harry Potter universe where a casting decision happened and it just makes sense. One of the big ones, and I know everybody thinks it, is Helena Bonham Carter as Bellatrix Lestrange. That was one that when they announced, I got violently angry with myself that I didn't think of that first, because it is perfect casting. And I think Jude Law as young Dumbledore is very good casting, and I really wanted to like it. We did not get to watch this one in theaters, featuring our kid here. It's very important that his opinion is known too. Sit back for a second. We didn't get to see this one in theaters. And Garrett, I don't know if you will remember this, but after it came out, you did get to see it in theaters, and you were over at our house for something, and we asked what you thought of the movie, and you said you have to think of this as the second act in a 3-act play. If you think about it as, if you think about it as the second act in a 3-act play, you're going to have a better time. This is going to go better for you. If you remember, this is not the end. They're not going to answer all your questions. And I think that makes a lot of sense. So I got to see it when it came out on DVD that spring. I rented it at Redbox to fuel my Jude Law crush. And I watched it, and I thought of it as the second act in a 3-act play. And I think thinking about it like that helped. I do. I think it helped. I think it helped dispel that. Yeah, I was going to say, can you come help for a second? I think it helped to dispel some of that dissatisfaction that a lot of other people felt, not really wanting to think about it like that. Um, but I will say that doesn't mean I'm completely satisfied. I think the Lita Lestrange story, in a very similar, just an overall theme for the Fantastic Beasts movie, it's a story that I appreciated getting to hear and was a nice story to get to know. But why in this film? Why was this the place to talk about it? Um, and the whole story with what happened with her family and Corvus and getting into all of that. I've seen this movie 5 times now, and I'm still not sure that I completely understand where all of that came from. And the ending, I think, is very interesting. Are you guys wanting to save that discussion for theories? Or are we pausing for the theory discussion?
No, just it's free for all now, I think.
Okay, then I'm gonna flat out say I don't believe Grindelwald. I don't believe him. Think about what happened moments before he tells Grievous in those final 90 seconds. Think about what happened. Queenie tells Grindelwald, you're gonna have to convince this guy. He's not sure that he did the right thing. He's not sure that this works the way that he thought it was going to. You're gonna need to do something to convince him that this was the right call. And what does Grindelwald do? Conveniently gives him a family and a backstory and a home. And you may be thinking to yourself, oh, but the Phoenix shows up. Okay, this wizard who's been able to do all of this other magic, you're going to tell me that he wasn't conveniently able to make it seem as if a Phoenix appeared? So it's a convenient plot. I don't buy it.
I think that's the problem with a lot of this franchise is going to have is that at this point in time, I think that people don't necessarily have a good taste in their mouth coming out of this one. If I remember,
Yeah.
I don't think that this one was well received. And so I think that they're going to have a long-term problem of getting people to remember the story in a way that is understandable. I think again, people will still go see it, but I think people will be a little bit lost as to what they are going to be expecting versus what they are going to receive.
Yeah.
I think that in my rewatching of these two, I've been very unsatisfied. I think that in the moments of being delivered the movies, I'm really excited about it. And the hype is really cool because it's really cool in the theater experience. But both of these times for both of these movies, I have been not sucked in. The magical whimsy is gone. And the plot is not really getting me enough. It's, I guess the best way that I can say it is that I'm just curious enough. I wouldn't say that I'm excited. I wouldn't say that I'm looking forward to, I just want it to be done. Like I'm invested enough to continue this ride, but I really wanted to speak.
I think this is speaking from not having a book series that sold millions of copies and all that. But I think this might be a sign of a weakness in Rowling's strengths as a screenwriter. She's at least co-writing these screenplays, which she did not do with the Harry Potter film series. And these are not based on existing stories like they are based on. These stories weren't written in a book. So these aren't adaptations like Harry Potter. So I think there is some weakness from Rowling in there because there's a lot going on in this movie and it's too much. I remember the first time I saw it in theaters, I had the same reaction to the first one where I was taken in by the visual effects of the big screen stuff and all that. It also loses some of that luster for me watching it at home on television. And a key thing that I noticed was that the first movie and the second movie, there's only 1 minute difference in the runtime. But the second movie seems a lot longer. But Fantastic Beasts was 2 hours and 12 minutes. And Crimes of Grindelwald is 2 hours and 13 minutes. So it's only 1 minute longer, but it dragged. And I think it's because it didn't feel like the pacing was right. It didn't feel like the story was solid because we were just like going in a bunch of different rat tails. I don't know. There's a lot happening, and it does feel like a story in the middle of a story. It's not self-contained, I guess.
It definitely should be. It should be a example to other directors, especially in the superhero or in the blockbuster genre, that you can get a lot done in 2 hours. 2 hours and 1 minute, you can get a lot of story. Yeah, again, and this is what I think we talked about. We brought a lot of baggage in last week's show. This is what we were talking about though, with this impending doom that they're like building towards. It really sucks kind of what could be the fun of this franchise out a little bit.
That's a good point,
there's
because
Yeah.
in the Harry Potter film series, the impending doom takes a long time to build. The first 3 films are still largely fun. There's not a lot of fun in these. There's
a lot of
fun, but it's still
I'd say that
guys.
a lot of laughing and learning in those first 2 to 4 even Harry Potter books until Voldemort
in this,
stuff. Then things get
yeah, Jacob Kowalski is the fun deliverer of the first one, and then there's so much drama going on with him that even his level of fun is just, man, he's still got some stuff going on. Like there's absolutely nobody that is like in a positive situation in this Harry Potter movie. All of the magical whimsy that you expect from Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them is nowhere to be found in this movie. There is no magical whimsy at all to be found.
And speaking of Jacob, I gotta get on my soapbox for a minute here, because I'm not gonna tell J.K. Rowling how to write her own stories, but that's not how that obliviate spell works. You don't just only remember or only forget bad memories.
Yeah.
No, you've obliviated too many people in your previous books to make me believe that they only had bad memories.
Hey, I'm going to get you, because the thing was, they didn't use a traditional obliviate spell. Remember?
Oh, you're going to catch me on a technicality? I don't care.
Obliviate venom. They used a venom from swooping evil of some sort that has obliviative abilities. And so it only erased the bad
It's just
memories.
like, why did you even do it?
It's like they created a thing just so they could have an out at the end.
Well, and I saw a review. We talked, David. I think you said that because of this review that we watched after I saw, because he didn't watch it with me the first time I saw it. I saw a review for The Curse of Grindelwald that talked about how that was just something she always did in the books. Like, she would come up with some sort of newfangled magic to erase her previous problems. Like in the 4th one, she invents the idea of a port key, and then poof, who uses a port key in the climax but Voldemort. So it's just kind of something that she does again and again, is uses magic to erase her previous mistakes.
Yeah, I'm really interested. I do think that, again, we talked about this last week. I think that if whatever they're building towards, I think that they need to adjust their model moving forward, because we can all probably agree that in some way, shape, or form, the Harry Potter content machine is going to continue pumping out something. And I think that they either need to reevaluate their strategy, because I, as a fan, am, again, just invested enough to continue the journey, but I would really like to not feel like this was Harry Potter. I really don't want this to be that. So there's so many different roads that you can take. And I think that either taking a different route movie wise and focusing it on completely different stories or a different type of genre, make it more magical, more whimsy, more fun, or visit the long-term series format. Because I do think that this, again, story, like we mentioned, that they're trying to tell could be different and an equally intriguing story from Newt Scamander and Fantastic Beasts. And I think that they're trying to tie certain things together, and I think it's just becoming a little convoluted. So again, I think that a lot of people will continue down this road, but I wonder how many people are invested in the story because of the fact there is so much going on, and we, again, don't have a previous context for stuff. So we have to remember, as fans going in, like it's a whole book novel. Like this is like books, but in movie form. We don't know where it's going, but this feels like, again, chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, building towards something. And I just don't know if that's a model that works.
This kind of gets a little complicated because a creator's work is their work and they should get to do whatever they want with it. But I also wonder if she were open to it, if J.K. Rowling is almost becoming a problem for Harry Potter in the same way that George Lucas became a problem for Star Wars. And maybe we need other voices to help tell these stories, is what I would position.
I think definitely.
If she were willing, I would never tell anyone that it should be taken from her. But it's, I don't know, maybe a different voice, maybe movies, Joe, aren't your strong suit.
And there's such a difficulty when it comes to the same person after so much time, is that you get used to their eccentricities and because they, like, you bring up like George Lucas for example, like a lot of the same things are there in the prequels that are in like the original films, but somehow, I don't know, somehow things just didn't quite translate in every way. And I feel like some of that's going on here. You can see she's really dependent on this idea of the last second reveal, like the last second, like to be continued type finish. And a lot of movies have that, but I don't know. It just, I don't know. It's so, I am reading here. She is co-writing at the very least on the third film still. I can very well see
the whole series.
Yeah.
Very well see a few years from now.
I'm more wondering, like,
movies from different people.
In terms of expanding the universe, yes, could maybe some other writers be brought in?
Yeah, and I think that's the key. I am intrigued by several different things, because what could have Newt Scamander been in a different voice? It would have been someone, again, more Jurassic Park style-esque, someone who's brought Jacob Kowalski into this world, and they're searching and discovering this world of magic beasts as he's writing his book. That is a world that I would be intrigued by. He's setting out to find these creatures to save them, which is mentioned in the first one, but we don't really get that. We don't get that mission. And then it turns into this, it pivots to where I'm not, again, sure how I feel like I'm supposed to be rooting for Dumbledore as opposed to Newt.
Yeah.
Like
It was set up.
yeah.
It was set up with a premise that it seems like they've lost track of, because it's not.
It's no longer Fantastic Beast. There's a war coming.
Exactly.
There's no Fantastic Beast. There was one evil dragon that they caught at the beginning of this movie, but outside of that, the whole Fantastic Beast element is gone.
Yeah,
from what I can tell, and I don't know how they bring it back.
I think that's the issue. Is the series is now Fantastic Beasts : whatever the next movie.
Dumbledore's Army,
and it doesn't feel like it's Fantastic Beasts.
On that note, what do you guys feel? David and I talked about this on the way up here, or on the way not up here, but we talked about this after we watched the movie and getting ready for this. What do you guys feel about Nagini being in this movie? What are your thoughts on that?
I think it makes a lot of sense from a perspective of a Fantastic Beast nature. Again, the whole idea that I want from this is that there's this world of magical beings, and I feel like Nagini fits that. And so that is a backstory that I think is super interesting. And again, it ties it into a world that I, as a fan, can recognize and familiarize with, and it connects it just enough, but it delivers it in a different way. And I'm learning something cool and new, and it makes sense to Newt's mission. So I think that was a nice way to take it. But again, I just wish that the delivery was different. But I do think that is a fun incorporation that could have been really well done. Just, I think again, from a different perspective.
Okay, Josh, what do you think?
Yeah, I was excited the first time I saw it, because it's okay. Nagini, that is a character I'm familiar with, but I'm not familiar with him as a human. So that was exciting. I like that element. It is, I just don't know what the overall purpose is yet, is the thing. Is, okay, it's cool that she's there, but now why is she there?
Yeah.
Where are we going? Where are we taking this? Because are we just ultimately still leading toward, like, so bringing it right back to Star Wars, the prequels with the birth of Darth Vader, is this going to end with the birth of Voldemort? Because I'm going to be bummed.
Yeah. That's what I actually told David was what I didn't like about it. Was I said, here's the thing. I said, the idea, Garrett, to support what you said, the idea is very interesting, and it is a fantastic, but that is a very cool idea, and I can get behind that idea. I don't, and I would even be okay if they introduced a character like that, and it left us to conclude, oh, okay, that Nagini was one of those things like that. I would be okay with that. I don't like that it's specifically Nagini, and the reason I say that is, one, it feels like another like shoehorn attempt to remind us this is the same universe.
Yeah.
That I don't know that we needed. And it's also Nagini, Voldemort's pet snake, is a bad guy. And she's right now not.
Right.
So are we gonna see this turn to becoming a villain? And why is that something that we need right now?
Yeah,
It-
I
it-
do.
it-
Yeah, I do feel like it's definitely very building towards a Voldemort.
So it almost has to be.
Yeah.
She's gonna turn because she loves Credence. And we've already seen one character. We saw Queenie turn in this movie for the most part. This is good. Here's a dark turn for you. She's like a Nazi now, but she's like a Nazi I'm not for murder of Jews. I just think Germans are more important than everyone else. That's where she is. She's like, we shouldn't be able to do what we want. Yeah. I don't. Other people do the killing. But like we saw that in this movie. We saw a good guy turn into a bad guy in this movie. Maybe she'll turn back by the third one. Who knows? But it's gonna be. But it almost has to be building towards that thing. And this idea that Credence is this. I still don't even really understand the premise of the Obscurial. He is like a being of suppressed magic energy or something like that, who also might be Dumbledore's brother or son or cousin.
Brother is location.
So
I'm not thinking son.
I don't know.
I don't know what you guys.
We'll find out.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's so much more scope, or it's a bigger scale story than I think.
Yeah. I think I think this is why they just need to rethink their model. But this
really
is
have
one
no
I
idea.
have. What kind of box office did it do, David? Real quick.
Yeah, man, time flies, doesn't it? You jump back to 2018, and it doesn't feel like it was that long ago. But I'm about to read a list of movies, and these movies are 4 years old almost now. Fantastic Beasts: The Crimes of Grindelwald opened basically 2 years to the date after its predecessor. Opened on November 16th, 2018. It was the number one movie at the box office that weekend, bringing in $2.1 million. So about like a 15% drop from its predecessor. In the number 2 spot, you had The Grinch, which does not feel like a 4-year-old movie. I feel like that movie came out last year. This is the animated Grinch movie with Benedict Cumberbatch in the Despicable Me style.
Yeah.
Then at number 3, you had Bohemian Rhapsody. At number 4, you had Instant Family, which brought in $14 million. And number 5, 2018 was a pretty massive year for the box office in general. Since Fantastic Beasts would go on to bring in $159 million in the United States, $495 million overseas for $650 million worldwide. Let me see. It finished for 2018. It finished in the number 20 spot on the year. Number 1 movie that year was Black Panther, which brought in an absurd $700 million in the U.S. Avengers: Infinity War brought in $678 million. Incredibles 2 in the number 3 spot. Jurassic World: Fallen Kingdom in the number 4 spot, and then Aquaman was the number 5 movie in the U.S. that year. Again, these are domestic numbers. I don't really do international numbers anymore. I can if I were to be able to. But 2018, man, you go down the list, it's like franchise mode is in full force in 2018. It's just franchise after franchise after franchise. The highest grossing original concept movie that year technically would probably be Bohemian Rhapsody, but after that, you get on to like A Quiet Place, things like that.
Yep.
Star is Born was even a remake. So,
Yeah.
Anyway, that's it for the box office stats. Josh, let's do those letterbox scores, or Garrett, maybe whoever won last week. I don't know.
Well, let me read you a few fun ones first, like we do. And these, I think, are, again, come back to what we've been talking about here. You got a 2.5-star review here that just says, J.K. Rowling, take a break from writing challenge. 2 stars. Did Johnny Depp really vape out of a skull, or did I hallucinate that? And then 2.5 stars. Watching these movies is hooking up with an ex. I keep doing it because I think I miss them, but really, the thing I miss left us both long ago.
Ouch.
Yep.
So with that, yes,
For more.
Garrett, you won last week. You want to run this?
Go for it. I see it here.
Okay.
Looking at my face. What do we got for guesses?
I'm gonna
Two-
guess.
2-7. 2-7.
Yeah, I'm gonna
2-7.
guess. I'm gonna guess a 2-6.
A 2-6 for David.
Oh wait, you said 2-7. Oh, okay.
I did.
He did.
I'm gonna go right underneath you then.
I'm gonna say 2-9.
2-9. A little less optimism than you had
Could
last
be.
week.
I warned you.
It dropped pretty hard. We do have an exact winner again.
Oh, exact winner.
Pretty good at that. I feel like we need to keep a tally of who gets the most. That could be a fun little add that to the trivia at the end there. Mr. Josh with a 2.7.
All right.
I knew I was out at Mister. I was like, huh.
Well, that's true.
That would have been a dead giveaway. For me, this is another one that fell. I'm gonna give it a generous 2.5, only because I'm intrigued by how they're gonna finish it. But I wonder how long they can keep my interest if I keep walking away going.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
2.5.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you. And since I gave the last one a 3, I think I'm going to have to lower this one to a 2.5. I don't want to go farther down than that yet, but that's where I'm going to say.
Nikki, what do you think? I got to think on it for a few more seconds.
You guys only do like 0s and 0.5s. I can't do a 3/4. I can't do a 0.75.
Unfortunately, yeah.
You can if you want. You're our guest, so we will give you power as
That's true.
other that we don't.
I have neutrality.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give it a 2 3/4 stars, 2.75. It's not a 3-star movie for me. The performances are still really good. So for me, I can't go all the way to 2.5 because I do think Jude Law does really well. We didn't get to talk about it, but I actually did end up kind of liking Johnny Depp as Grindelwald. The choices that they made, I wasn't super for at the end of one, just because I didn't like losing Colin Farrell, but I did like the direction that Johnny ended up taking it. And I think that the dynamic between Jude Law and Johnny Depp is an interesting one. And I think the performances from everybody else were, and especially Zoe Kravitz, I thought she was fantastic. We didn't really just talk about her or who played Newt's brother. I can't remember his name, but he was great too. We didn't talk about characters at all, man.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm sorry, I'm talking too much, but the performances were too good for me to say 2.5. I'm gonna say 2.75.
Okay, David, you have
Yeah.
less than a minute.
I'm gonna say 2.5.
2.5.
I didn't,
Okay, I think that puts us pretty close to in line with the Letterboxd.
but like, I'm interested though. I want to see the third one.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, better be
We
good.
will talk about it on this show, which you should subscribe to at somanysequels.com, where you can find links to all of our other things as well. So we'll see y'all next week. Bye.